Hi everyone, welcome to the final part of our banking domain use case. So before we dive into the final part of balance updation logic and everything, right? First, I wanted to say a big thank. Like we reached 100 subscribers and I am doing this video. I'm so happy that like you have a trust in me and you believe like I can provide some value in your learning. I'm so happy about that. So let's move on to the use case. This will be the final part. We'll be concluding the use case with this video. I'll try to make it as short as I can so that like you can understand the logic and as well as like learn it easily. So balance need to be updated for every transaction. That is the last part, right? So we have already written the stored procedure. So this is our journey so far. This was the requirement. First we design how we thought through. We understand like what are the tables required based on their requirement, and we went through columns, right? You can watch the previous videos in the same channel so that like you'll get the flow. So now we have this third requirement. Balance need to be updated for every transaction. This is what we are going to talk about today. So the first question, right? Like balance need to be updated. How to update the balance, right? Forget about from every transactions and everything. You can start thinking from that. How to update. Balance is in accounts table. You know that, right? Because we have built this table and balance is in the um, accounts table. Okay. And if you write an update statement on the accounts table, you can update the balance. That path is clear. So the one way to update the latest balance and get the latest balance is like subtract, like add and subtract all the transactions which we had in this transaction table. I think we did that once, like in order to get the right transaction in the accounts table. That query is in the second day first video. Sorry, the day 2 video we have that information. So the second way is like you already did this transaction, so the current balance is aligned with your transaction table, so you can just add or remove the latest transaction being made. So that means like if somebody is withdrawing the money, you reduce that balance. If somebody is like adding the money, or you have different types, right? Adding the money and like interest is being posted, in all these cases the value should get added, right? So that is the easiest way, because if you think that you have millions of data and recalculating every time is going to take some time. Okay, so I think you got the two ways, like either you update, calculate, or like add or subtract. So we are going with this add or subtract method, because this is going to be faster than the calculation. So this ignore this thing, okay, because I was keep taking note when I was thinking through. So this, like whatever you are seeing here is my thought process, how I wanted to do that activity. So update statement is the option, right? So we reached into that. So where do we write this update statement, right? If you come back and update it every morning, will that work? Not, right? Because somebody might make the transaction in the morning and we want this to be updated immediately. So it actually should happen every time you add an entry in the transaction table, correct? So what are the options SQL provide? So one way, if you are like all your insert statement into a transaction is going through a stored procedure or one or two multiple stored procedures, you can write an update query in that stored procedure, so that like you can make sure that the balance is updated. Great way. But what happens? What if somebody is inserting that using an insert query, like what we did initially, right? So you will not be able to capture. So your balance is not accurate and you are not recalculating it. You are already add or subtracting. So even next time when somebody do that through stored procedure also, you will have a data mismatch. So this is not going to be an accurate method if there is a manual entry is possible. So now you can take anyway, both would work. So the option which we are going to explore today is trigger. So why trigger? Because trigger will taken care in both the cases, like it will update the like when every time if somebody is going to do through manually or even through stored procedure, you would be able to get these changes reflected directly using triggers. So today we will quickly talk about how we will implement that, and I'll also try to show you some interesting parts of SQL which we haven't covered. I'm in the query window. I have already written the trigger. So I'm going to explain you line by line. When you see this 30-40 lines of code, you don't need to worry about. It is very simple. So as I have mentioned in our trigger view stored procedure topic, like there are two types of trigger. One is instead of trigger and the other one is after trigger. So that is what you can see here. So this happens when there is an event occur on a table after trigger will initiate. Instead of trigger will be used when there is you wanted to overwrite an action. Instead of inserting, I wanted to insert into different table. Those kind of scenario, right? You will use instead of. So here we are going to use after, because when there is an insert happen, I want this action should happen along with my insert statement. So now let us go line by line. So create, like what object you are going to create, like create agile, create store procedure, create function, whatever you learned, the same function, same thing. And this is my name, trg account balance update, because I wanted to keep that trigger name that helped me to understand what action it is going to do, right? This is account balance update, that's the action. And when you create a trigger, this type of trigger, right, you are going to create on a table, because when do you want this action to be happen? When you are going to make a changes on the transactions table, correct? So transaction table is where like you will be doing your insert of a withdrawal, deposit and all these things, right? So I said I wanted to create a trigger on my transaction table. When do I wanted to have the trigger executed? When there is an insert statement happening, right? Right. So hope you are clear on this part. So I am starting. So I have two new item which you can say, which I have never talked about. So these are not related to trigger. It has nothing to do with trigger. I have written this here so that you might be seeing this kind of codes in your day-to-day life. You know like why this is. So when you run a query, right, you will see statements like 10 records updated, 0 records updated. But you don't want that to be printed. That's an additional effort for SQL, right? Let us keep it minimalist. So if you don't want a count to be printed, you can use set no count on. And if you don't want ANSI warning to be popped up, you can keep ANSI warning off. This is what a couple of SES function we have, but no count, and these two we generally use in stored procedures and triggers and everywhere. So it's okay if you write or not a problem, but I have written here so that there is something like this is existing. So what we have discussed, I wanted to update my balance when there is a transaction happen based on the transaction amount. So but how do you know which is the last transaction, right? And you also wanted to build a logic in order to find what is the last transaction, and if there are multiple transactions happening at the same time, you need to understand that there are so much of complexity. And if you are thinking, oh, okay, I have a transaction ID, I'll take max of it, you can think about different logics around it. But when you are using trigger, SQL Server is providing you a simplest way to get the data which is being inserted or deleted on that particular transaction. I'll explain that to you a little more interestingly. You can see some inserted table, right? There are two types of table. One is inserted and second one is deleted. These two tables are called magic table. So this table is used to, these tables are only, you can use these tables in the inside the trigger, and the purpose of it is to in order to capture the exact value, because when you this trigger execute related to a transaction, right? When you do an insert entry, this trigger will execute. So what value which is passed during that insert would be captured in these two tables. Okay, what is these two tables, right? Inserted and deleted. When you do an insert statement, inserted table will have data. When you do a delete statement, deleted table will have value. When you do an update statement, your older value will be there in your deleted table and newer values will be there in your inserted table. So that like with these two tables, you will be able to capture the changes for all the transactions, insert, update and delete. Okay, so in this case we are doing insert, so like deleted will not have any values, and if you are doing delete, insert will not have any values. So this will distinguish, like even if you are making parallel transactions, this trigger will be executed every time for every transaction. If you are making 10 transactions, 10 times this trigger will trigger will execute. So every time based on your action that this inserted, this kind of a temp table kind of concept, this will capture the value and that can be used inside the trigger. So what I am doing here, I'm like the old method. If the transaction is withdrawal in my current design, anything other than withdrawal is a positive value, like in interest posting or like deposit and everything are positive. So what I am doing, I am transaction type is withdrawal, I am multiplying the amount into like -1 so that it become negative, otherwise it will become positive and it will add to the balance. Okay, so it will balance, either will be increase or decrease based on the action. So I'm creating the trigger trg account balance. I guess I already created. Yeah, I haven't made any change, so I don't need to alter. So let us do a insert statement. So we can, transaction date we don't need. What do you need? You need account number, right? These are the three values you need. I should have taken the script rather than doing all this effort, but yeah. So I'm going to do for the account 1000. Okay, so values 1000. Can we do a deposit? So I'm going to do 222. Okay, so let us pull the data before insert from accounts table, where account ID equal to 1000, and I'm going to run the query after. So the expectation is simple. The amount, like whatever the balance you are seeing right now, is a whole number 5000. That's why I tried to add a unique number which will be easily reflected. So the value should be changed. That is the expectation, and all I am doing is an insert statement into the transaction table. I am not doing any update statement here. Okay, I'm running the query, and here you can see it is 5000. Here you can see it is 5222. You can see the change now. After my insert, what happened? I'll show how this is happening. So this select statement is this one row affected. This insert statement, sorry, I don't know, I was counting that wrong, sorry. Yeah, so this is when you did an insert statement, it actually triggered the triggered the trigger. Yeah, I was planning to show you the number of rows affected, but trigger, since we already set no count off, it was not printing. So I'll show you. I'll do one more thing. I'll do a deposit into that 1001. Sorry, do 1001. So here in messages, you have seen this one row count, one row affected, right? So just wanted to show you the no count on here for you. So I'm running the statement. I'm going to the messages. I don't have that one row affected values anymore in the messages, right? So that is what when you set the no count, you will not be able to see that record changes entries in the procedures or wherever. That is where the no count is used. Since I have mentioned that, I thought of showing a practical example. Yeah. So here also the values are changed. So if you are doing a withdrawal, this will change. And again, like if the withdrawal is going wrong, right? Withdrawal is correct. Even if that withdrawal is going wrong, we don't need to worry, right? Okay, this is, yeah, we have it's our own account. Yeah, business, there are so many questions, but yeah, values are changed, right? If it is not changing for withdrawal, that is a logical issue. That is not a code issue. So you have to also understand that in mind. First, do with one basic thing. How did we do the stored procedure? We did not try solving the problem for all your 100, 200 accounts, right? We did that for one account. Interest calculation has built, and then we scale that for multiple accounts, so that like even if anything goes wrong, if somebody comes back and tell that, okay Samit, your calculation is wrong, all I'm going to do is like I'm going to fix the issue inside my stored procedure where the calculation is there. That's going to fix for all my account. And tomorrow if they come back and ask that, okay, now I have like 100 account, I wanted to scale this up to 1000, my loop will take care of that, right? So when you think about designing, when you think about writing a stored procedure function or anything for that matter, I want all of you to think in such a way that this can be scalable and this should be dynamic. Here also I tried keeping these values like this. The best approach would have been like I can declare a variable for account ID, and I can pass that variable in the three size. Okay, I think we haven't tried these kind of things. Yeah, int equal to 1002, and all I'm doing, I can pass this value here. Yeah, amount also we can use definitely, but here we need the same value to be used multiple places, right? You don't need to depend upon like a risk of, suppose I gave 1001 here, 1002 here, 1001 here. So I don't want to have that issue. So have a practice when you start coding, when you start learning, right? Make use of these kind of features like variables and everything when you think that you have multiple purpose. And all I have, before I conclude, I just wanted to say this. All I have covered is maybe 1 or 2% of SQL. There are many things which you can go to, functions you can learn that. So my goal was like when I was doing the session or when I'm explaining this use case, my primary goal was like how you think, how you get familiar with this query writing, and how easily you can adapt to this, and will be able to start from small query and write big query, like building that design thinking and how you can write the code. That was my primary goal. Definitely there are areas which I haven't covered, like details of other functions. I did not go deep into the functions. I know even stored procedure, there are different features. Yesterday we learned output, that was not covered. So like that, right? Many things are there. I'm concluding the video here. This will be the final part. Now we have the trigger ready for our table. You can see that trigger here. With that, if you go to this requirement document, we had this 3 table to be stored to store the data. Great, we did that. We have the interest calculation and posting. We created 2 stored procedure, and balance we have done that to a trigger. So this is very high level. I just created this scenario only for you to explore this area. But when it comes to real time, you might be like creating the loggings. Maybe every transaction you wanted to know like who did that. We have attach username function which help you to understand, username function, not attach username function, that help you to understand like who wrote the, like who triggered the query, so that like any transaction which is coming into your table can be captured into a log table, right? Many of these things and system functions which you would be able to use that. So I want like whoever is watching this video, please explore, try doing use cases. I'll try to upload all these documents in the Google Drive, and as well as like we'll try to provide multiple scenario questions, which whoever is interested can pick that and do it, which I'll be uploading in next couple of days. Yeah, thank you for watching. Hope you have liked, interested like how this was explained and how we have covered about talked about all these things. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.